Listen up, because what I'm about to tell you can change your life. Right now, millions of men are trapped in a cycle that they don't even realize is holding them back. It's a silent addiction, a habit so common that most people think it's normal. But what if I told you that it's one of the biggest reasons you're feeling tired, unmotivated, socially anxious, and stuck in life? What if I told you that quitting this one habit could skyrocket your energy, confidence, and success? Let's talk about your brain. Your brain is a machine wired for dopamine, the chemical that makes you feel pleasure. Every time you watch porn or masturbate, you're flooding your brain with artificial dopamine spikes. And guess what? Over time, your brain gets used to these extreme highs, and suddenly, real-life pleasures, like working on your goals, socializing, or even being with a real partner, start feeling dull. You lose the drive to chase greatness because your brain is stuck chasing the next quick fix. And what happens to your energy levels? Your body treats semen as a vital resource. It's packed with proteins, minerals, and nutrients. When you release it frequently, your body has to work overtime to replenish that lost energy. That's why so many guys who are addicted to this habit feel drained, unmotivated, and even struggle with brain fog. You might think it's just a release, but over time, it's stealing the fire inside you. Now let's talk about confidence. Every time you indulge in this habit, you're reinforcing a pattern of instant gratification. You're training yourself to take the easy way out rather than facing real challenges. Confidence isn't just about how you look or act. It's about how you feel inside. And when you rely on artificial pleasure, your self-discipline weakens, your self-image crumbles, and before you know it, you're walking through life feeling small, hesitant, and unsure of yourself. And here's the kicker. Women can feel it. They may not consciously know what it is, but they can sense when a man has strong energy and self-control. When you hold on to your sexual energy, you radiate confidence. You stand taller, speak with more power, and become more attractive without even trying. On the flip side, when you waste that energy on a screen, your presence weakens. You become passive instead of dominant, hesitant instead of assertive. Now, let me ask you, what's your mission in life? Because the truth is, the most successful men, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the high performers, have one thing in common. They control their desires instead of letting their desires control them. They channel their energy into building businesses, sculpting their bodies, and achieving their goals. They don't waste it on temporary pleasure. And that's why they win. But here's the best part. You can reclaim your power today. It starts with a decision. A decision to break free from this cycle, a decision to rise above, a decision to use your energy for something bigger than yourself. Because the moment you take control of your desires, you take control of your destiny. Now, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Will you keep living the way you have been, or will you step up and become the man you were meant to be? The choice is yours. Your brain is a supercomputer, constantly seeking ways to optimize your experience of the world, but it doesn't operate based on logic alone. It's wired for survival, and at the core of that survival is one chemical, dopamine. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter responsible for pleasure, motivation, and reward. Every time you experience something enjoyable, whether it's eating, exercising, achieving a goal, or having sex, your brain releases dopamine to reinforce that behavior. It's nature's way of saying, this feels good, do it again. But what happens when you artificially flood your brain with dopamine on demand? The moment you indulge in watching pornography or excessive masturbation, you trigger an unnatural surge of dopamine. Unlike natural sources of pleasure, which require effort and engagement, porn delivers an instant and overwhelming reward. Your brain isn't designed to handle that level of stimulation repeatedly. Over time, it adjusts by reducing its natural sensitivity to dopamine. This means that activities that once excited you, working on your goals, socializing, reading, learning new skills, start to feel dull and uninteresting. The more you rely on instant gratification, the harder it becomes to find joy in real-life experiences. This is why so many men who struggle with this habit report a lack of motivation. It's not just about the time wasted. It's about the chemical imbalance it creates. The brain's reward system becomes hijacked, and what used to give you energy and drive now feels like a chore. You may find yourself unable to concentrate, feeling constantly distracted, and even struggling with symptoms of anxiety or depression. It's not because life is boring. It's because your brain has been conditioned to expect a much higher level of stimulation than reality provides. And here's the worst part. Dopamine is directly linked to your ability to take action. When you train your brain to receive pleasure without effort, you weaken your ability to push through challenges. The very essence of growth, delayed gratification, patience, and persistence starts to feel like too much work. You begin seeking shortcuts, losing discipline, and feeling overwhelmed by even the smallest task. Instead of building resilience, you become trapped in a cycle of seeking the next quick fix. And before you know it, weeks, months, even years pass by, and you're still in the same place, wondering why you can't break free. But there's good news. Your brain is plastic, meaning it can be rewired. Just as it adapted to unhealthy patterns, it can readapt to healthy ones. When you stop feeding the cycle of artificial dopamine spikes, your brain recalibrates. At first, you might feel withdrawal, restlessness, frustration, or even boredom. But over time, real-life experiences begin to regain their richness. Your focus sharpens, your energy returns, your motivation reignites, and the best part, you begin to crave real progress. Instead of seeking an escape, you seek challenges. Instead of avoiding discomfort, you embrace it. And that's when everything changes. Because now, you're no longer a slave to impulse. You're in control. And that control is what separates ordinary men from extraordinary ones. Your body is an energy powerhouse, constantly producing, storing, and using vital resources to keep you functioning at your best. Every action you take, whether it's thinking, moving, or even just staying awake, requires energy. But what most people don't realize is that one of the biggest drains on your energy isn't external stress, lack of sleep, or poor diet. It's something that happens internally, something that feels harmless in the moment, but slowly chips away at your vitality over time. Every time you masturbate and ejaculate, your body expends a tremendous amount of energy. Semen isn't just fluid, it contains proteins, enzymes, zinc, magnesium, and countless other nutrients that your body prioritizes for reproduction. It's a concentrated source of biological energy, and your system works hard to produce it. When you release frequently, your body has to redirect resources toward replenishing what was lost. This leaves less energy available for other critical functions, muscle recovery, brain function, immune strength, and overall vitality. And that's why so many men who engage in this habit excessively report feeling fatigued, mentally foggy, and even physically weaker. But it doesn't stop there. Beyond the physical depletion, there's a neurological cost. The post-release state is marked by a drop in dopamine and a rise in prolactin, a hormone that signals relaxation and recovery. While this response is natural, frequent releases can lead to an extended period of lethargy, where you feel unmotivated, sluggish, and even emotionally drained. Instead of waking up energized and driven, you may find yourself hitting snooze, struggling to focus, and lacking the spark to take action on your goals. This is why some men feel bursts of motivation when they abstain. They're no longer caught in a cycle of temporary highs followed by deep crashes. The impact doesn't just affect your internal energy levels, it affects your presence, your drive, and your ability to take command of your life. When you constantly deplete yourself, you lose the fire behind your eyes, the sharpness in your mind, and the intensity in your actions. It's subtle at first, but over time, it can lead to a state of passivity, where you go through the motions rather than attacking life with purpose. You may notice that you lack the same edge, that your workouts aren't as powerful, that your focus isn't as sharp, or that your ambition isn't as strong as it once was. But here's the truth. You have the power to reclaim your energy. When you stop draining yourself needlessly, you allow your body to redirect that energy into strength, discipline, and mental clarity. Instead of feeling exhausted halfway through the day, you feel unstoppable. Instead of relying on stimulants to wake up, you wake up naturally alert. Instead of walking through life feeling drained, you radiate presence, intensity, and purpose. And when that energy builds up inside you, it transforms you, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. You move differently, you speak with more power, you take action with conviction, because when you master your energy, you master your life. Confidence isn't just about how you look or how you speak, it's about the way you feel inside. It's the silent force that determines how you show up in the world, how people perceive you, and how much control you have over your own destiny. But confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. And just as it can be strengthened, it can also be weakened. One of the biggest confidence killers is engaging in habits that strip away your sense of power, control, and discipline without you even realizing it. Every time you indulge in easy pleasure, you reinforce a pattern in your brain that tells you it's okay to take the path of least resistance. It starts small, just one time, just to relax, just to relieve stress. But over time, that habit becomes a cycle. And that cycle starts to shape your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who gives in easily, someone who lacks control, someone who is at the mercy of urges rather than in command of them. And here's the dangerous part. Your subconscious mind is always watching. It registers every decision you make. And with each indulgence, you're sending yourself a message that you are weak, that you are undisciplined, that you don't have what it takes to stand firm. The choices you make every single day shape your future. If you continue to indulge in instant gratification, you will remain stuck, drained of energy, lacking focus, and wondering why your confidence, motivation, and attraction are fading. But if you take control, if you decide to break free from the cycle that's been holding you back, everything changes. Your mind sharpens, your energy returns, your presence strengthens. You stop being controlled by impulses and start directing your life with purpose. This isn't just about quitting a habit. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about proving to yourself that you are disciplined, that you are strong, that you are capable of achieving more than you ever imagined. The moment you decide to step up and take command of your urges, you step into a new version of yourself, a version that is more confident, more focused, and more driven than ever before. And when you embody that level of self-mastery, the world responds. Success comes faster. Opportunities appear. People respect you. Because in the end, the man who controls himself controls his destiny. And that man is you, if you choose to be. But this has a direct impact on how you carry yourself in the world. When you don't respect your own ability to control your desires, it becomes harder to assert yourself in other areas of life. You may notice hesitation when speaking up, a lack of certainty in your decisions, or a quiet doubt that creeps in whenever you step outside your comfort zone. Confidence isn't about pretending to be strong. It's about knowing deep down that you are in control of yourself. And when you allow instant gratification to dictate your actions, you weaken the very foundation of that control. The effects don't stop with your mindset. They show up in your body language, your tone of voice, in the way people respond to you. You can't fake true confidence. It's something that radiates from within, and others can sense it on a deep subconscious level. When you lack self-discipline, it shows. Your energy feels scattered instead of focused. Your presence feels uncertain instead of commanding. You might try to compensate by dressing better, speaking louder, or acting more assertive, but if you don't feel powerful on the inside, it will always be an act, and people see through that act. But the moment you take control, everything shifts. When you stop feeding the habit that drains your power, you begin to rebuild yourself from the inside out. You regain a sense of certainty. You walk with more purpose. You speak with more conviction. Your mind becomes sharper. Your decisions become firmer, and your presence becomes undeniable. Because confidence isn't something you chase. It's something you create by proving to yourself day after day that you are in control. And when you master that, nothing can shake you. Attraction isn't just about looks, wealth, or charm. It's about energy. It's about the way you carry yourself, the presence you bring into a room, and the unspoken signals you send to the world. There's something powerful about a man who is in control of himself, who doesn't seek validation, who walks with an energy that demands respect. Women can sense this, even if they can't put it into words. It's not about what you say, it's about the way you make them feel. And one of the biggest factors that influence this energy is your ability to harness and direct your sexual drive. When you constantly indulge in instant gratification, you unknowingly weaken that presence. Every time you release, you lose more than just a physical fluid. You lose an inner fire, a life force that fuels your confidence, motivation, and assertiveness. There's a biological reason for this. Sexual energy is one of the most potent forces in the human body. It's meant to be directed towards creation. Whether that's in relationships, business, physical pursuits, or personal growth. When you waste it on artificial stimulation, you drain yourself of that intensity. Instead of being the kind of man who walks into a room and naturally commands attention, you become passive, dull, and less magnetic. Women don't just respond to words or actions, they respond to unspoken energy. A man who is constantly depleting himself through instant pleasure carries a different frequency than a man who holds onto his energy and channels it with purpose. It's not about being aggressive or dominant, it's about having a quiet strength, an unshakable confidence that radiates without effort. This is why some men seem to attract effortlessly while others struggle. It's not about tricks or tactics, it's about the energy they embody. There's also a psychological shift that happens when you retain your sexual energy. When you stop numbing yourself with temporary pleasure, your mind sharpens, your focus increases, your motivation strengthens, and your drive to succeed intensifies. Instead of seeking quick satisfaction, you start to crave deeper fulfillment. This change doesn't just make you more productive, it makes you more attractive. A man with a mission is infinitely more compelling than a man who is lost in distractions. Women aren't just drawn to good looks or status, they're drawn to men who exude purpose, self-control, and inner strength. When you take back control of your urges, you transform the way people perceive you, your posture changes, your eye contact becomes stronger, your voice carries more weight. You don't need to chase attention because you naturally draw it. And this isn't just about attraction, it's about respect. When you master yourself, the world responds differently to you. People listen more intently, opportunities come more frequently, and relationships become more fulfilling. Because true attraction isn't about what you do, it's about who you become. And when you become the kind of man who radiates confidence, power, and purpose, you don't need to chase anything. Everything starts to come to you. Your ability to focus determines the quality of your life. Every great achievement, whether in business, fitness, relationships, or personal growth, comes down to one thing: the ability to direct your attention toward what truly matters. But in today's world, most people struggle with focus. They feel distracted, unmotivated, and unable to commit to their goals. And one of the biggest reasons for this isn't external distractions. It's the way they've trained their own brains through instant gratification. Every time you engage in easy pleasure, like watching pornography or excessive masturbation, you are reinforcing a pattern of behavior that conditions your brain to expect quick rewards without effort. Instead of developing the discipline to work towards something meaningful, your mind becomes wired to seek the next instant hit of dopamine. Over time, this weakens your ability to concentrate on tasks that require patience, effort, and persistence. Studying, building a business, reading a book, or even engaging in deep conversations starts to feel like a chore because your brain has been programmed to crave constant stimulation. This is why so many men who struggle with this habit also experience brain fog, lack of motivation, and an inability to follow through on their goals. It's not because they aren't capable, it's because their reward system has been hijacked. The brain becomes so accustomed to effortless pleasure that real-life achievements which require time and dedication no longer feel rewarding. The result? Procrastination, frustration, and a feeling of being stuck in life, watching others succeed while you struggle to make progress. But when you take back control, something incredible happens. When you stop indulging in artificial stimulation, your brain begins to rewire itself. At first, you may feel restless or even irritable. This is because your dopamine levels are resetting. But as your brain adapts, you start to experience something you may not have felt in a long time: clarity. Your ability to focus sharpens. Your energy levels rise. Tasks that once seemed overwhelming now feel achievable. You start taking action instead of overthinking. And this is where real transformation begins. Because focus isn't just about productivity, it's about power. The man who can control his attention controls his future. When you break free from the cycle of instant gratification, you regain the ability to direct your energy toward meaningful pursuits. You find yourself more disciplined at work, more engaged in conversations, and more driven to achieve long-term success. Instead of wasting time on distractions, you use your time to build something valuable. This shift doesn't just change the way you work, it changes the way you live. You start to feel a deeper sense of purpose. Your goals become clearer, your actions become more intentional, and the best part, you begin to love the process of growth rather than seeking quick rewards. Because true fulfillment doesn't come from shortcuts, it comes from mastery. And when you master your focus, you gain an advantage that separates you from the masses. You stop reacting to life and start creating it on your terms. Self-control is the foundation of success. Every aspect of life, your health, wealth, relationships, and personal growth depends on your ability to discipline yourself. The men who rise to the top in any field aren't the ones who give in to every impulse. They're the ones who can delay gratification, push through discomfort, and stay focused on long-term rewards. But self-control isn't just about saying no to temptation. It's about proving to yourself that you are in command of your own mind, your own body, and your own destiny. Every time you indulge in instant pleasure, you reinforce a pattern of weakness. You send a message to your subconscious mind that urges and desires control you rather than the other way around. The more you give in, the harder it becomes to resist in the future. This applies to everything in life, whether it's food, social media, procrastination, or pornography. Your brain is constantly learning from your actions, and if you repeatedly choose short-term pleasure over long-term success, you wire yourself for failure. This is why so many men struggle with discipline. It's not that they lack motivation, it's that they've trained themselves to avoid discomfort. And the moment you become a slave to comfort, you lose your edge. You lose the ability to push through challenges, to take control of your habits, to command your own life. You start to feel powerless, not because you are weak, but because you've allowed yourself to be ruled by your impulses. And this lack of self-mastery shows up in every area of your life. You struggle to stay consistent with your goals, you find it hard to focus for long periods, and you feel frustrated because deep down you know you're capable of more. But here's the truth. Self-control is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. And one of the fastest ways to build that strength is by mastering your urges. When you make the decision to stop engaging in behaviors that drain you, something powerful happens. At first, it feels difficult. Your mind will look for excuses. It will try to convince you that it's harmless, that you can quit anytime, that it's not a big deal. But when you push past that initial resistance, you begin to experience a shift. You start to realize that you are in control, that you have the power to say no, that you are stronger than your impulses. And that feeling of control changes everything. You start walking with more confidence. You speak with more authority. Your ability to stay focused, disciplined, and committed skyrockets. You begin to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, the world begins to trust you too. People respect a man who is in command of his actions, who stands firm in his decisions, who refuses to be controlled by distractions. Because real power isn't about dominance over others. It's about dominance over yourself. And once you master that, there is nothing in this world that you cannot achieve. The choices you make every single day shape your future. If you continue to indulge in instant gratification, you will remain stuck, drained of energy, lacking focus, and wondering why your confidence, motivation, and attraction are fading. But if you take control, if you decide to break free from the cycle that's been holding you back, everything changes. Your mind sharpens, your energy returns, your presence strengthens. You stop being controlled by impulses and start directing your life with purpose. This isn't just about quitting a habit. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about proving to yourself that you are disciplined, that you are strong, that you are capable of achieving more than you ever imagined. The moment you decide to step up and take command of your urges, you step into a new version of yourself, a version that is more confident, more focused, and more driven than ever before. And when you embody that level of self-mastery, the world responds, success comes faster, opportunities appear, people respect you. Because in the end, the man who controls himself controls his destiny. And that man is you, if you choose to be.